Is red playing?
Yes, I think so.
Good afternoon. This is Aaron Chandler with video recording session number 1 with class 5721, counseling practices. And today we're going to be talking with Haley Chandler, talking about some of the things that she's been thinking about lately. And we're going to start off with her signing the consent form. Go ahead and fill that out. There are some confidentiality issues that need to be addressed before we begin today, to make it perfectly clear that what is said in today's session will not be repeated in any other places. And if it is, you do have some options that we can always go over in case you feel like you need to do that, in case this information is shared anywhere else. Okay? First of all, let's go ahead and start. Just tell me a little bit about your story, who you are, some of the things you've been thinking about, and why you feel like you needed to come today.
Okay, well, a little bit of background about me. I am a wife and a mother of 2 little boys, and I just recently in the last year, stopped working part-time, and now am more of a stay-at-home mom and kind of tutoring a little bit on the side. And as far as what brought me in today, probably just the stress of motherhood and trying to figure out how to make it on 1 income instead of 2, which we had previously. That's probably it.
So you said the stress of motherhood and the stress of trying to go from 2 incomes to 1. And that was a pretty recent shift, was it not? Tell me about that shift and when that happened, and how it affected you, and sort of the timeline of that.
Okay, well, back in August, last year, about this time last year, I was working part-time at a school as a school counselor. And my principal at the time came to me and he wanted me to go full-time, and so I knew that that's not what my family needed for me to do. So I told him that I couldn't do that, and so over the summer we really hoped and prayed that I would be able to find another part-time position in the Fort Worth School District as a part-time counselor, but that didn't work out. And so in August I had to resign from the district, and so we went from being me part-time as like a half-time school counselor to me not having any sort of form of income. And then in October of last year I started working as a tutor at the junior high right close to our house, but it's a significant pay cut, and I only work 9 hours a week, so I just don't make as much money as I obviously made before, plus there's no benefits or anything like that. So that's kind of where we are now. It's good because I get to spend more time with my boys, but it's not really good financially because it puts a strain on our income, our finances and income and stuff.
Tell me about your husband and what he does and where he stands in all this.
Okay, my husband, he works at this place called Texas Workforce, and he just recently started there in December. He got a pay increase, which is good at his job, but it's still not enough for us to live off of. So, completely live off of. So, I definitely think, we're okay because we have quite a bit of savings, so we're kind of pulling from that. But long term, we can't live on just his income. So I either need to find a job, hopefully next school year, doing something a little more where I can make more money, or something. I don't know. But yeah, so that's kind of what we're doing right now.
So you said that the stress of a mom has caused you, or just the stress of being a mom has caused you a little bit has been kind of heavy on your mind and
Well, I would say probably the main thing that's been stressful lately, and for me as a mom, is going from being the mom of one to being the mom of two. That's been pretty stressful.
Okay, why would you say that is? I mean, what is it about that that's been stressful for you?
Probably just, when you have one kid, it's different than when you have two kids. Two kids isn't, it's been kind of an adjustment. Our newborn, he's not that old yet, but it's just hard because, just balancing that would be hard.
Yeah, I agree. So how is the, what's the name of your oldest son?
Jackson.
Okay, and how old is he?
He's 3.
And how is he taken to the new boy?
He's doing good. He's doing really good. He's had some temper tantrums, but other than that, he's fine.
Tell me about, this whole transition between the stress of going from 2 incomes to 1 and the stress of your husband changing jobs too and you changing jobs. Tell me about how that relates to your expectations and the way you grew up.
Well, the way I grew up was an only child, and my mom never worked. She worked some here and there, but part-time, subbing and that kind of stuff occasionally. But for the most part, she didn't, I never really thought of her as working. So how does that compare to what I guess my expectation probably has always been that maybe when I have children I wouldn't have to work.
Mm-hmm.
Or not work very much, at least.
No, I understand. I grew up the same way. My my dad brought in the income for the house, and my mom stayed with my brothers and myself. I kind of know what you mean. I'm kind of in the same boat as far as that goes, and I can imagine that if you're kind of in a situation where there's not a whole lot of income to begin with, and then you kind of go from a transition where you're not really working at all, having 2 boys, I can imagine that being pretty stressful. So, tell me a little bit about what it was like as far as growing up in the household you were growing in. It was you and your mother and your father. And who would you say, in counseling terms, we have something called the family constellation. There's kind of a personality that is really dominant, not in a good way, but there's kind of a personality at the house that kind of reflects the general family view. Tell me about that and what it was like growing up at your house.
The general family view? It was my mom and my dad and me, and it was a very Christian family.
Mm-hmm.
We went to church. We were very involved at the churches we were in. We spent a lot of time with different families from church. We spent a lot of time with our own family, my grandparents and stuff. I don't know what that means, but I guess that I don't know if that's answering the question or not. But,
Mm-hmm. Okay, well, who were you closer with your mother or father?
Probably my mom, but I was pretty close to both of them. But yeah, probably my mom. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm seeing kind of a connection between, possibly your expectations growing up and then kind of, your current family situation. It seems like everything kind of comes together. You grow up a certain way, and then now you are being home with your boys all the time, which is great. But then there's also kind of this, things when you're growing up. As far as when you were growing up, were there, did your dad, did he struggle or did you guys?
Financially?
Yeah.
I've been told that there were struggles, but as a kid you don't really.
That's true.
You don't really know what's going on.
That's true.
I supposedly there was stuff that went on, but I had no idea.
Right. Yeah. I understand. I was kind of in the same boat. There wasn't a whole lot of weighing on my mind because we were taken care of, and also we had a lot of family in town, and so we could be taken care of. We had people to spend time with as far as friends and family and stuff like that. And then you're told there are some struggles, but you don't know that when you're growing up. But I do kind of see, kind of this kind of this tension. I'm hearing that you're kind of stressed about transitions in your life, and a lot of it has to do with family, and then it seems that there could even be a tension between, possibly your expectations growing up, and then, what you're currently experiencing in your life.
Yeah.
I may be wrong, and that could be me projecting a little bit, but I'm just kind of hearing. I know that if the transitions are kind of stressful for you. One thing I do want to do, I want to make sure that the expectations for today's meeting are good, and we have some real goals we're setting. Okay. As with any counseling session you do, if someone comes just to talk and just to be heard, that's good. But on the counselor's end, you also want to have some goals in case you want to come back. In case you want to say, hey, I thought this was a helpful session. I thought it was therapeutic for me. I thought some things were said that were wise, or it was just good to talk. And when we are talking, I do want to step further and set some goals, have some homework. And as far as goals for something like this is to you to identify kind of what's stressing you out, for you to identify why you feel you need to come and talk a little bit about these things. And another goal is to actually take action before the next time we talk, so maybe we can make some progress the next time too. So let's go a little farther in your family. How would you say your openness? Does your family are you guys open with each other? Do you do a lot of talking? Are some of these stressors, are these things that are discussed often?
What do you mean family? Do you mean my parents, or do you mean my husband, my kids? What do you mean?
Your husband and your kids.
Okay. So you're asking what our communication is like?
Yes.
I think we talk about this stuff like some, I guess. I don't know. I mean, I think it's hard not to talk about income and finances and stuff like that. And that just naturally happens, I think, between husbands and wives, but maybe not. Maybe not everybody.
Are you guys taking any financial classes or anything like that?
Actually, right now at our church, they're having a Dave Ramsey course called Financial Peace University, and so we've been going to that for the last 6 weeks or something, 7 weeks. Yeah.
What do you think? You think that's been helpful?
Yeah. I mean, I think it would be more helpful if we took it a little more seriously. I don't know that we're taking it as seriously as we need to, but yeah.
On a scale of 1 to 10, how would you rate your stress over finances?
My stress over finances? 1 to 10? 1 being what? 10 being what?
1 being, don't worry about it at all. 10 being, I worry about it a lot.
I would say probably a 6.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
Probably a 6. I mean, I'm not stressed about it, because we do have savings. But I know that we can't always just depend on our savings. And I also know that there is a possibility that I could find work in the next school year, and that would be helpful if I find something more then. So I mean, I know that there's possibilities. So that's probably the main reason I'm not as stressed as I would be, and because I know that there is a possibility that I'll find something else that I can do that will make more money.
Let's kind of go back again. I'm kind of seeing there's sort of a tension between, possibly what your expectations were, for your kid's childhood in relation to the way you grew up. There's possibly a tension there. Now, you have an education.
Yeah, master's.
Now, as far as wanting to go back and work and going back to being a 2-income family and you working full-time as well as your husband, how do you feel about that? You thought about doing that?
That's not something I want to do. No, I mean, I see eventually that might be something that I do, but with 2 little ones that are younger, not in school, I would say no.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, I don't mind working part-time. Working part-time has been perfect. I mean, last school year, and the school year before that, I worked 20 hours a week at a campus, and that as a school counselor, and that worked perfectly. I mean, it was still stressful because you're working 20 hours a week, but it's not stressful as working 40 hours a week. And so, I mean, that was kind of the perfect scenario. If I could find something like that again, maybe not. That's kind of one of those rare things that you happen along every so often. So, but ideally, what would I prefer? I'd probably prefer not to work at all, just not having to work. But I know that I need to work, so I just need to find something that I can do that's not full time.
Let me ask you a difficult question. Let's say that, from what I know about Dave Ramsey, okay, I know a little bit about it myself. Let's say that he were here with you, and you were kind of revealing some of your financial situation to him,
Mm-hmm.
and you're being really candid and honest about it.
Yeah.
And you said, and you told him the difference in the income that would be there if you worked, and the income that would be gone, and how it would make a difference.
Mm-hmm.
And you said, what do you think? I mean, and you said, the only way we can really do this is if I work. And you said this to Dave Ramsey.
Part-time, work part-time.
No, period. Just you have to work to make it. And you said that if I don't work, it's gonna
Well,
be
I
more
think you would
difficult.
tell me that I had to work, right? Wouldn't most people?
Yeah.
Yeah, right. I mean, if you can't make it without working, then you gotta work.
How do you feel about that?
I mean, you do what you gotta do. Yeah.
Okay. All right, so let's summarize a little bit here. Okay. You feel some stress being a second-time mother and raising two boys now, and also being in transition mode with going from working full-time to part-time, and now to really only working sparingly 9 hours a week. That in addition to just having a child, and that in addition to knowing that the financial aspect of your life, even given your husband works full-time, that some of those things, those numbers, they're not adding up very well.
Yeah.
And just this constant pressure of the scheduling, there's just kind of a lot weighing on your mind, and these things are a little bit stressful for you. And to summarize, I thought there was a little bit of tension between kind of the way you grew up and your expectations for that, and kind of what's going on now. Given those things, and I thought it was very interesting that you rated your stress level about your financial situation from 1 to 10 to 6, by the way, and that kind of gives me an indication, kind of maybe where your mindset's at. I want to do an activity now. Okay, I really like to do this, especially with maybe first-time clients. It's called the miracle question. Okay, I want you to close your eyes, and I want you to consider a question, and I want you to engage with this very seriously with me, and answer the question as well as you can, and take it seriously. We can have a discussion about the results. Okay. Now, as you're closing your eyes, I want you to think about. Let's say that you woke up tomorrow, and you are now in the ideal situation in relation to what we just discussed, right? You're in the ideal situation. Now you can handle everything. Now things are what you want them to be. And as you're thinking about this, think about our previous discussion. Go ahead and open your eyes and kind of tell me what your day is like, tell me what your life is like, and tell me how things have shifted a little bit.
Well, I wouldn't have to worry about finances. I guess my husband would have a job where he made enough so that I didn't have to work. And I'd just be able to stay at home with my boys and not have to worry about working part-time. Even 2 days a week for 9 hours a week. Because, I think that would be, that would probably be my ideal. Just being able to be a stay-at-home mom, not worrying about, I don't mind budgeting and, that kind of stuff. I'm good with that. Like, knowing I have to watch my money and how much I'm spending, I'm okay with that. But not having to, constantly think about what I need to be doing, what kind of job I need to find, that kind of thing.
Okay, now based off of that, what kind of goals can you set? This, when we do sessions like this, we do counseling. This is all about, finding a conclusion. Let's see how we can sort of address these issues and work on them. Based on just sort of this ideal world, what kind of goals can we set? What kind of things do you think we can do?
have no idea. I mean, I don't know, like, based on that, okay, I don't have to work at all. I don't have to work at all. I mean, I don't know how realistic that is. That's not really realistic.
Well, let's say that we reversed roles and I was telling you all these things. How would you advise me? What would you say that you should do? What are the things that you should do?
Well, you need to get happy with where you are.
Okay.
I mean, you got to learn to be happy with where you are, and you know, working part time is just going to be what I need to do.
Mm-hmm.
So, I guess finding something that I enjoy doing part time that doesn't take a ton of my time.
Okay.
They can make good amount of money. I think my goal is to find something that I can work the least amount of time and make the most amount of money. So if that means I can find a tutoring job where I make $20 to $25 an hour as opposed to $12 an hour, which I'm making right now, I can work 10 hours as opposed to 20 hours a week and get the same amount of money.
Does that position exist?
I don't know. You can find it.
Yeah. Well, that's another goal. I mean, we
find that job.
I mean, we can just start job searching, right? We start job searching for that.
Yeah.
You know, how do you feel about budgeting and things like that?
Budgeting? Well, we've tried to. My husband and I, we haven't really done a very good job of it. But we have done sort of one with this Financial Peace University. We kind of did one.
Mm-hmm.
A budget.
Hey, I'm just like you. I'm not. You know, when it comes to the budget, I'm one of these people. You know, if you have a master's in counseling yourself, you know, we counselors aren't so good with numbers. So, you know, I'm kind of with you on that, right? So I'm kind of in the same boat. So, anyways, I understand, but you know, taking that more seriously, considering that tool is right there, that training, the Stave Ramsey training is right in front of you, and you and your husband. So use that tool. You know, engage with that deeper. Take that more seriously. You know, I kind of like to do 4 goals. You named 3 right there. Just have a good attitude, and look. I mean, as far as is it therapeutic to talk and counsel about things that people want to talk about to make us feel better? You answered your own question, right? And I mean, if you feel like you're kind of down about all this stuff and it's bringing you down, and then you say, hey, my attitude, basically. You know, you know your own words. You know, need to have my own decision. This is my own decision to get happy with it.
That's true.
And of course, the job search. I mean, is this mythical job? You gotta find it. But however, you know, you were able to kind of come up with an ideal. I mean, it's probably floating around your head that it's possible, right? And just be more mindful and be more serious about the budgeting. You know, these are some pretty realistic goals. And it sounds like you have these tools right in front of you. Is your husband supportive of you staying home?
Oh, yeah. But staying at home, working part time.
Right.
That's what it is.
Is he supportive about you not working at all?
I think if he made enough money, he'd be good with it.
Right. I understand. We have 3 good things to talk about here now. Can you think of a 4th?
I think 3 sounds like a really good number to me.
3 sounds like a good number.
3 is a good number.
This is the one I like. I like the attitude one. I love that one right there.
Yeah.
It's obviously it's going to be the hardest one to measure.
Yeah.
You know, there's a lot of ways we can do that. Self-talk, the kind of conversations you find yourself having about it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you try to put a positive spin on things. You know, when you're with when you're with the boys and you're kind of struggling by yourself, I know that, you know, there's part of your heart that likes that, but sometimes it's hard. And, you know, as opposed to saying, you know, it's such a big transition, it's such a stressful life for me, as opposed to saying that to yourself, you say, hey, this is an opportunity. This is my chance. You know, I chose to be with my boys in this situation.
Yeah.
And that's just an example. That's just something, kind of a suggestion. Okay, we'll have some homework for you. Just 3-part homework assignment, okay? I want you to think of, for your attitude, and later, I'll type something out official of this and have you work on it in form of a worksheet, because I have some stuff already, okay? But I can kind of just write this out right before you go today. I want you to think of 3 positive sentences, self-talk, that you can practice, repeat to yourself before our next visit. These sentences encourage just a positive outlook on your new situation in life.
Okay.
And I want you to come up with those sentences. They could be, I feel blessed this time in my life because I have 2 boys and I'm able to spend with them. 3 sentences like that, and I want you to engage those and say those and use those.
Okay.
Create them and then bring them back to me and start saying them, okay?
Sounds good.
And 2, for job search, I want you to come up with 3 realistic job leads.
Okay.
And what is that goal? Is it 12? Is it 9 hours a week, $20 an hour? Is that what it is?
10 hours a week, $20 an hour. Yeah. Something like that.
I want your homework is to come up with 3 jobs that give that. Okay? 3 jobs that do that. And be flexible too.
Okay.
And last, I want you to do one real elaborate budget with the husband.
Okay. Sounds good.
And I would like for you to make a copy and bring that. I'm not going to read it, but I do want you to bring it and just kind of tell me how you felt about that.
Okay.
Okay? All right, those are our 3 bits of homework. That should be good. I thought we had a really good lesson, really good talk today. Kind of talked about some of your transition problems, kind of what you're worried about these days. You know, the income, the tension between having 2 new boys, even being a new mom, things like that. I thought it was really, really good. I have assigned you some homework to do today. I want you to bring that next week. And let's go ahead and set this meeting up for a week from today at 5 p.m. back at the same location.
Okay.
And I really appreciate you coming today. Do you have any final thoughts that you'd like to go over?
I'm good.
Okay, Haley, we'll see you next week, okay? Thank you, ma'am. Okay.
Poor kid.